So that is one of the reasons why we are able to actually intercept these flying objects well before they can actually damage our target. So it's like a layered system, and it goes right up to the possible target areas within our country. So what are these targets area? They could be airfields, they could be military headquarters. So these are the areas, like for example, Delhi. Okay, now we can't rest in peace unless Delhi is well defended. So I can tell you that Delhi is well defended. I won't like to go further than that. But if they decide to do something like what we did in Islamabad yesterday night, I think they will meet their fate duly as uh, as ordained by the gods that be, that they are not going to see the next day. Our air defense is by now very well prepared to take on variety of things which can be thrown to us, whether they are drones, whether they are missiles, or whether they are aircrafts. If you see the procurements which we have done in the last few years, S-400, then the Harop missiles, and then you have various other air defense systems which are now available to us in the region at that tactical and operational levels, that we are prepared to take on any kind of mischief or misadventure which the Pakistani forces are likely to throw at us. And at the same, our aim is to suppress and destroy the air defense of the Pakistanis, so that we can then cause that much of damage that Pakistan will really repent why they started this thing. As far as India is concerned, we don't have iron domes, so we don't have a system equivalent of an iron dome. What we do have is we have a layered system of defense. Now, this layered system of defense can be equated as some kind of a iron dome, but with a lot of manual input. Unlike in the iron dome, where a lot of automation is there, a lot of automatic tracking is there. So we have systems for various ranges, starting from 1 kilometer right up to 30 kilometers.
Hi, you're watching the Times of India, and joining me today is Lieutenant General Dushyant Singh. He served in the elite National Security Guards as the Inspector General Operations, and of course has also penned several books on terrorism, on countering terrorism. And thanks for joining us today, sir. We're joining at a very grim moment when India has, but it's also a moment of pride where India has rebuffed Pakistan's second huge attempt to send missiles and drones our way. We have been able to take down, almost 50 swarm drones of the Pakistan Defense Forces, which they've tried to fire on our international borders last night and even the night before that.
As far as this current situation is concerned, it is the making of Pakistan that we are now seeing what we are seeing. But I always believe in the fact that any kind of challenge is an opportunity as well, as far as we are concerned. So, going by the incidents which have happened in the past, we this time have changed the entire narrative of response. Even I would say till Balakot, the narrative of response was by and large restricted to J&K, by and large localized in nature. Rest of the country was not that involved in the response which we had to give as far as our adversary was concerned. But this time, I think he went too far, too much for the people of India and the national security establishment of India to take it in the way we had been taking such actions in the past. So therefore, the distinct features of this time's response, I must say, from the past are: one, the response is no more restricted only to the JNK or the valley. The response has spread right across. That is the first change which you see from the last entire, in fact, since the time we have been facing JNK. The second big issue is that it's a tri-service response. So that is something which has not been in the past. It has generally been single service response, whether it was the Air Force or whether it was the Army. But this time you find the Army, Air Force, and the Navy, all three have joined hands. And therefore, I would say that was the second big distinct feature as far as our response is concerned. And third major issue, which is very very different from the past is that we have not hesitated to use weapon systems that will really cause and hurt Pakistan, so that he is brought on his knees, and then we can actually achieve some kind of a deterrence against this menace of terrorism. So I would say these are the three issues which have been the underlying change from the past. How do I see it going forward from this particular place? I see, based on what is coming out of Pakistan, and I'm talking about the normal media, which is blaring away to glory that nothing has happened. We have deliberately, allowed these drones to have come into our territory. We don't want to give
Hmm.
our position, so on and so forth, including their defense minister has been talking about it. Lesser said the better, as far as
The better.
Asif is
Hmm.
concerned, their defense minister. But nevertheless, what is happening is that the rhetorics continue to flow from either side. So I feel that this particular duel will continue for some time before somebody blinks. I can definitely tell you India is not going to blink.
And India definitely should not blink. And what we saw last night, it made the Indians really, proud of our defense services, our defense forces. Thank you for everything that you do for our nation. But the fact that the 50 Pakistani swarm drones that were neutralized in Jammu and Kashmir, in Punjab yesterday, and India is collecting those the wreckage of those drones, and they're going to put
Yeah.
it out for international scrutiny to show up Pakistan, because that is where the problem has always been. Pakistan has been very good on rhetoric, going across the world and shouting and crying and really creating a song and a dance about everything. India, on its part, has been more dignified in its approach. Uh, do you see that changing this time around?
Uh, as far as the change in behavior is concerned, I am having a very strong feeling that Pakistan will come around this time. I'm hopeful of it. Let me just tell you that I've spent most part of my career starting from Baramulla, where the action is starting, right up to the areas of Punjab, where I was the corps commander there, and there I had been the
Hmm.
division commander in Jammu, and I have been the brigade commander in Rajouri, Punch, those areas. So I have a very detailed knowledge of this particular place. The advantage which we have in this particular sector is that we will be more effective as far as our responses are concerned, and that is what you are saying because of two three reasons. One, our air defense is by now very well prepared to take on variety of things which can be thrown to us, whether they are drones, whether they are missiles, or whether they are aircrafts. If you see the procurements which we have done in the last few years, S-400, then the Harop missiles, and then you have various other air defense systems which are now available to us in the region at that tactical and operational levels, that we are prepared to take on any kind of mischief or misadventure which the Pakistanis forces are likely to throw at us. And at the same, our aim is to suppress and destroy the air defense of the Pakistanis, so that we can then cause that much of damage that Pakistan will really repent why they started this thing. In fact, in my opinion, Munir has done the blunder. If I have to rate the blunder of all their army chiefs, I think he has done the maximum blunder which was possible as far as this particular action of Pahalgam, which he did based on whatever he spoke few days earlier, because I squarely put the blame on him. And Pakistan is going to suffer, let me tell you. Uh, so I'm hopeful that this time round Pakistan will turn around.
You talked about our air defense systems and how they have
Yeah,
actually come of age. I want to talk to
yeah,
you about that, but since you mentioned Munir also, let me ask you why exactly. And we were discussing this before we started this broadcast. Why do you think
yeah.
Munir is doing this?
Aditi, I would like to highlight my answer by a tweet which I got. You see, I normally do one-on-one, and I had done a program on a particular YouTube channel. So I got a reply, which I wish I had shared it with you. You could have flashed it on your program. It was a pseudo handle of the ISI, which actually gave out three major factors. First, it said, General, I mean, it addressed to me directly, General, we were not in control of the narrative for the first 2 days. We thought India is in control of everything. But finally, we got hold of the narrative. See, they're all talking about the narrative and not about action. See, we got hold of the
Hmm.
narrative, and now we are, whether we are politically weak, whether we are economically weak, but now the entire nation stands behind Pakistan army. You getting the intention? So the intention
Hmm.
was to bring back Pakistan army back into focus and to ensure the survivability of Munir, who has been actually facing internal differences from his file and rank and file, especially Pashtuns and Baluch, who are there in this particular Pakistan army. He sacked his corps commander of the strike corps. He's the GOC 4 corps, who was the corps commander actually where I commanded the corps opposite in Lahore area, he got
Hmm.
removed. So when you have such a situation within an army, the chief of that army is not a very happy man. So possibly he wanted to ensure his cement his position. Whether he's been able to cement his position or he's going to go home dishonorably, I don't know. That only the time will tell. And the most important thing was that the entire issue was now internationalized as far as the JNK is concerned, because we were achieving great success. I mean, our entire
Right.
story of Jammu and Kashmir from 2019 onwards has been upward and upward, and this was definitely not to the liking of Pakistan. So I think that was the major aim, that get back Jammu and Kashmir narrative in, stop our tourism, get this entire development plank derailed, and therefore bring back the primacy and also deflect the attention of Pak public from the western border, where they're even till today they are getting drubbing from the Baluch Liberation Army and the TTP. So I would say these were the major intentions behind this particular action of Pakistan in the
Hmm.
Pahalgam, and they're going to pay for it. Let me tell you.
While in conventional warfare, we've been able to down their drones, their aircraft, we've been able to hit their AWACS. But how about terror? Because we understand that these terrorists are still there. It's still, there was an attempt to, there's an attempted incursion last night again at the borders. And
Yeah,
because of our
yeah.
porous borders, because that this two-pronged strategy, one is, of course, the army, and then, of course, I would say the terrorists on the other side, who the Pakistani terrorists, who the army itself guides them to infiltrate at the same time. Tackling both these fronts for India, how easy or difficult is it?
Well, as far as terrorism is concerned, I think today in the world, I can tell you very, very confidently that if there is any country which can actually deal effectively with terrorism, is India. Whether it is its hard policy of carrying out operations against terrorists, or the soft policy, like we say, velvet
Gloves, yeah.
velvet glove and fist, iron fist in a velvet glove. So that kind of a policy we continue to follow. One thing I must tell you, see, the defender of terrorism is doing this job, counter-terrorism job, is doing this job for 365 days, 24/7. Attacker
Hmm.
decides 10 or 11 times to carry out his operations. He might fail
True.
9 times. One time he might succeed. Nobody remembers that 9 times when he failed, because that is not coming out in the open. But once when we fail, that comes out in the open. Having said that, let me also tell you that both these things, conventional and the terrorism operation, India probably is best geared for doing this kind of a thing. Where we go wrong is when something starts happening very good for us, we suddenly start becoming little more relaxed. In the valley, there was an environment created of freedom from fear.
Yeah.
That environment which got created somewhere, it is my opinion, and I'm not standing here for everybody, it is my opinion that the security establishment, which is supposed to be internally looking after the issues, starts thinking that yes, terrorism or terrorist act cannot take place. I think that is wrong. That is where we sometimes miscalculate. Let me tell you, once terrorism goes down, the number of terrorists reduces. So when the number of terrorists reduces, it becomes more difficult for the security forces to find them and kill, neutralize them. Imagine a haystack. In a haystack, there are number of needles. Let's say there are 2,000 needles in a haystack. When there are 2,000 needles in a haystack, when you're carrying out your operation, you will invariably hit five, six needles and take them out. But when if there are only three, four needles in that haystack, then to
Hmm.
find those three, four needles becomes that much more of a problem. And that is the story with terrorism. That gives them the time to recover and recoup and get back their strength. And that is what
And that's
exactly happened
probably
as far
the
as that.
story with these four Pahalgam terrorists who we've still
Absolutely,
not been able to track down.
absolutely. And the second factor which I feel where we probably went strategically wrong was that, moment we conducted the assembly elections, there was a little bit of a, I would say, space which got available to these terrorists to maneuver more, get more support, get more local sustenance,
Hmm.
etc., etc. I think that must have encouraged them to undertake such an operation. That is something which, I'm not going to say that whether our decision to go for election was wrong or right. In democracy, we have to honor the feelings of the public, and I think that way we were correct. But we should have been more vigilant. Vigil should have been a little more than what it is. It was an intelligence failure. The government has accepted that. So I think we should not keep on repeating this particular mistake. That is something which
Uh,
we should be guarding against in the future.
Coming back to what actually happened last night, the manner in which the Indian defense systems repelled the drones. So, could you take us through what comprises our defense system? How is it so robust now?
As far as India is concerned, we don't have iron domes, so we don't have a system equivalent of an iron dome. What we do have is we have a layered system of defense. Now, this layered system of defense can be equated as some kind of a iron dome, but with a lot of manual input. Unlike in the iron dome, where a lot of automation is there, a lot of automatic tracking is there. So we have systems for various ranges, starting from 1 kilometer right up to 30 kilometers. So all these systems have now been deployed on ground. Now they comprise of a radar which starts looking at the target in the distance. The radar picks it up. The weapon systems which are supposed to then engage them, those are decided through an integrated system of command and control. The concerned weapon system is then directed at those objects which are coming at you, and the destruction takes place. Now in this process, everybody has to be good. Your weapon systems have to be good, your radar operators have to be good. There, of course, nowadays most of the radars are becoming more and more automated, so therefore it is less and less of human error is there. So that is one of the reasons why we are able to actually intercept these flying objects well before they can actually damage our target. So it's like a layered system, and it goes right up to the possible target areas within our country. So what are these targets area? They could be airfields, they could be military headquarters, they could be value targets, like some important establishments of the government, or some
Hmm.
you know uh, 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 ta- uh, uh, values of targets of value. So these are the areas, like for example, Delhi. Okay, now we can't rest in peace unless Delhi is well defended. So I can tell you that Delhi is well defended. I won't like to go further than that. But
No.
if they decide to do something like what we did in Islamabad yesterday night, I think they will meet their fate duly, as ordained by the gods that be. That they are not going to see the next day. That I can assure you. So this is called a layered defense system with a mix of weapons.
That's a pretty
Uh,
strong statement. Yeah. Uh,
yeah.
this system, sir, that you're talking about, Pakistan clearly doesn't have an equivalent because the Indian missiles and drones were easily or have easily been able to create havoc in Pakistan. How does Pakistan compare with the Indian system of air defense?
Look, Pakistan has, if you really compare India and Pakistan air defense systems, I think as of now we have an edge. We have a definite edge. Long time back, possibly we were a little behind, but as of now, as far as air defense is concerned, the Indian systems have definite edge, and with the S-400 having come in, I think that edge has gone a little notch much more higher. So more than that, I would like to keep it at that only, which all
Sure.
systems we have and which all system they have. Suffice it to say that the information is in the open. Even for the drones, we have now procured systems like Harop system of the Israel, which can intercept these drone attacks, etc. So we
Hmm.
are doing quite well as far as these things are concerned. We do need to increase it further, because in international relations, it is my belief that international relation respects brute power, and I think we are still away from that brute power. For the brute power, we need some more procurement, some more money, some more I would say robustness in our defense preparedness. That's a work in progress. I think that will take place, but we are catering for our short term threats.
So, what's your assessment? How long is this going to go on? This I strike, you strike, I strike back. How do you see a timeline to this?
I'm not a soothsayer.
I
I'm not
know
a
that's
soothsayer.
exactly. I mean, it's a very open-ended question. But in your
Yeah,
understanding, normally when
yeah.
things like this happen, uh,
Yeah.
understanding the defense capabilities of the other side, which is already in the doldrums economically, how long can they continue
See,
doing this?
see, if I have to make an objective assessment as a rational player, now mark my word, I've said rational player. I don't
Right.
think Pakistan really has any capacity to go beyond 8 to 10 days, even in this kind of a warfare, where we are just responding one on one. You do this, I will do that. Shadow boxing is a
Hmm.
subject we can or a term which we can make refer to as far as this particular activity is concerned. But even in this type of an environment, given the fact that their economy is in doldrums, given the fact that they have still not got their bailout package, given the fact that the Baluchis are after them, after their blood. In fact, there were some reports that they have declared independence in certain
Independence.
areas.
Hmm.
Yeah, and also the fact that the TTP is not letting them rest in peace. They're most possibly, as per them, they thought they are going to be their best friends. Afghanistan, Taliban, that is nowhere to be seen supporting Pakistan. The only entities which are left to support Pakistan are China and Turkey. In my opinion, if we can somehow isolate China, or I won't say isolate China, but convince China based on the fact that China needs us more than possibly Pakistan, given Chinese economic condition, I think
Right.
Pakistan should not survive more than 10 to 12 days in this kind of a warfare also. And so you will find, piping down by Pakistan.
Right. And
So,
so,
so give yourself about 10-15 days.
okay, 15 days of sleepless nights. Okay.
Hmm.
You know, our defense minister Rajnath Singh has already said that we are not going to back down, and the forces are on alert and they will do everything to protect their sovereignty. And that is a message that should ring loud and clear in Islamabad even as we speak. But thank you, sir, for joining us and giving us those perspectives.
Thank you, Adi.